Well, you know what time it is!
What up everyone, I am Gallon Havoc and welcome back to Havoc's Horror Show, where we talk all things horror or just things that are cool, dark, and edgy. So today I thought I'd switch gears a bit. We've talked about games. We've talked about movies. We've talked about TV shows. We've talked about artists. But we have never talked about anime. Well, no time like the present. And being Halloween and all, what better anime to talk about than my favorite, Hellsing Ultimate. Hellsing was a manga created by Kota Hirano, who also made Drifters, another favorite of mine. Still waiting on season 2. It had an anime series made in 2001, which was released before the manga ended, so like Full Metal Alchemist, the original anime really deviates from the manga, which is where Ultimate comes in, being the actual adaptation of the manga, like Brotherhood was to Full Metal. And I must say, in terms of overall quality, Ultimate improves on everything the original series had, with the exception of one thing. I'll get to that. Being animated by Studio Madhouse, the animation is absolutely beautiful, even today. It perfectly showcases Hirano's art style, with characters emoting so beautifully and with manic grins and expressions, including a hilarious cutaway chibi style that became a staple in all of Hirano's work.
Right this way, everybody! Everyone with a Japanese tour, right this way, please! Kochi desu yo! Right this way. We're walking. Kochi desu yo!
Speaking of which, blood and gore.
I'm a dog. Then you're dog food.
I'm the sauce boss, and tonight we're eating this blonde little wannabe demigod bitch.
I kid you not, Hirano has an extreme blood and gore fetish. As do I. And it shows especially well in Ultimate. Seriously, this anime is probably the goriest I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of gory anime. Tokyo Ghoul, Attack on Titan, Elfen Lied, Claymore, Drifters, but none of them, and I mean none of them, seem to be on the same level. And the action scenes that accompany the blood and gore are just so mesmerizing to watch. Probably my favorite fight scene in the series is Alucard's hotel massacre in Brazil in episode 3, which I know isn't even one of the main fights. But everything about this segment, the soldiers helplessly trying to survive this invincible vampiric badass's rampage, the music, the blood, the beautiful blood, oh, it's just so good.
Open sesame. Good work, soldiers. Now, good night.
However, in between each and every one of these action set pieces are these incredible character moments. Look at Alucard. Sure, he's a badass, edgy, stone-cold killer, but he is not free of compassion at times, as shown with Ceres and Integra, and to a lesser extent, Walter and Alexander Anderson. And in the aforementioned hotel rampage, he is sickened by a soldier who takes his own life because it reminds him of himself when he was mortal. As the series goes on, you learn more about what makes Alucard tick, his past, his backstory, his motivations, and by the end of it all, you realize he is one complex character when he's not shredding people left, right, and center.
You and I are the same! You are me. I was just the same! Don't you understand? This is how I became what I am!
Then you have Ceres, who is the fish out of water archetype trying to become accustomed to being turned into a vampire, who again has a beautifully done character arc. I will say though, she is handled a bit better in the original series, but I digress. Integra, again, a very multifaceted character. She has a tough, strict exterior, being a leader, but she does have a soft spot for her underlings, even Alucard. Something I recently heard and agree with is if you want a series with good character development, make sure the women are done right. And Ultimate does that in spades. The protagonists are easily the most rounded out, but the villains on the other hand are essentially just that. Villains. At face value, the villains are literally cannon fodder, but what the villains are easily justifies that. Let me ask you a question. Who are the most hated group of people in all of history?
Nazis!
Smack vampires on top of that. Yeah, pure evil, ready to be eradicated. As if Nazi zombies were bad enough. I will say though, the neutral party of the series, the Iscariots, are once again a bit more rounded out than the villains. Though the most depth they have is their religion. I'm no religious nut, but I do really like how the ideals of the Catholic Church are put into conflict with one another between Alexander Anderson and Enrique Maxwell. Speaking of Anderson, you can pretty much think of him as the Vegeta to Alucard's Goku. Pretty much every scene with them is a treat, especially in the abridged series, which, oh my god, is fucking hilarious.
Man, I don't know what I find funnier. The Catholic Church strong-arming you into helping us, or the fact that you obviously haven't seen what I did to the statue of Big J.
Now, while I prefer the original, the abridged is not to be missed. It's also a first impression thing. If you watch the abridged before Ultimate, it won't hit the same. Just saying. Anyway, Ultimate, like I said, is not free of its flaws, mainly in its handling of Ceres. Not saying it's inherently bad at all, but compared to the original series and even in the manga, Ceres' character arc is very, very rushed. In the original, she very slowly comes to terms with her newfound powers. In Ultimate, it's hardly touched on until near the end, where she drinks Pip's blood in the fight with Zoran. And while I love the abridged version of that scene, complete with Rob Zombie in the background, I personally preferred the original for that emotional weight. That's just me. Again, first impressions are important in some cases. But I digress. In the end, Hellsing Ultimate remains my favorite anime of all time. It's a good, solid, isolated story with plenty of facets that keep it interesting, with its characters, its story, its action.
The blood! The beautiful blood!
And that is why I am giving it a gallant rating of 9 out of 10. It nails everything I love in an anime, and being an interpretation of Dracula, in a way, it adds that much more to it for me. Anyway folks, I am Gallant Havoc, and I will see you in the next episode of Havoc's Horror Show.